This is not a random moment, this is divine interruption. My beloved child, hear me with urgency in your heart. I have just entered your battle. I did not wait for your strength to rise or for your surroundings to calm. I stepped in now, exactly as you are, with all your fear, exhaustion, and silence. I saw what others did. I saw your soul crying out while you wore a brave face. You were seconds away from surrendering hope, but heaven couldn't remain silent. I sent this message because I don't want you to miss what I am doing. Don't ignore this, it is not coincidence. It is confirmation. My presence has surrounded the exact place where your struggle reached its highest point. I have declared war against the forces trying to pull you under. I have blocked the collapse the enemy was counting on. I have stopped the breakdown from becoming your identity. Child, do not allow your weariness to blind you to this breakthrough. I am here not watching from a distance, but actively invading every fear, lie, and attack that threatened your peace. I will not let this go unanswered. The storm will still rage around you for a while, but you will now walk with a shield. The enemy cannot touch my presence. This isn't about being rescued in comfort. This is about being transformed in fire. I have seen enough, and now I act. Let your faith respond to my move. This moment matters. The blessing is not on the way, it has arrived with me. Don't delay. Don't scroll past this. Don't let familiarity make you overlook a holy encounter. You are standing in a sacred pause where the atmosphere is changing. I am not just nearby, I am in it with you. Lift your head, my child. Heaven is already working while you're still catching your breath. This blessing begins now. Don't think it's delayed, it has already left heaven with your name on it. My child, you must understand something deeply important right now. While you were doubting if anything would ever change, I was already setting your breakthrough in motion. I am not responding late. What I have orchestrated is already moving toward you like a river that cannot be reversed. It isn't just an idea, it's an unstoppable flow of provision, restoration, and divine alignment. You cannot see it yet, and that's why the enemy is pressing you to give up now. He senses the arrival of what I have commanded, and he's terrified. The blessing is not waiting on your perfection, it is anchored to my promise. And my word never returns void. The resources you need are already being aligned. The voices that will speak on your behalf are being stirred. The chains that held you in cycles are weakening even as you read this. Everything I ordained in secret is beginning to surface. I have got ahead of you. I've removed the traps that were silently placed to sabotage your steps. What you thought was still being debated in heaven has already been signed, sealed, and dispatched with my authority. I do not need your circumstances to agree before I act. I only need your belief. I don't want you to beg, I want you to prepare. Clear the space in your heart for what is approaching. Stop looking behind for validation. I am not doing this based on your past, I am doing this to define your future. There is no delay, no denial, no deferral. What is yours is finding you, not by luck or chance, but by decree. I sent this to remind you that I never forget my own. This blessing is not abstract, it's measurable. It will affect your emotions, your surroundings, your provision, and your relationships. It will be undeniable. People will look at your life and wonder how it happened so suddenly, but only you and I will know how long you waited. This is why I've asked you to hold on. Because what you're holding for is already coming with force. You won't have to chase it. You'll walk right into it on the exact day I marked before you were even born. Be still now. Stay open. What's moving toward you is divine, and it cannot miss its destination. It's on the way, and it knows exactly where to find you. You're not stuck, there's resistance, because my purpose is breaking through. Child, I want you to look closer at what you've been calling delay. It's not evidence of denial, it's the final resistance before manifestation. The enemy knows what I've sent. He's aware that what I've commissioned cannot be stopped, so he uses time as a weapon to weaken your hope. But I am not governed by time, and neither is what I have ordained for you. Every moment you've spent waiting wasn't passive, it was warfare. I was shielding you from premature exposure. I was aligning pieces that required patience. I was ensuring that when this blessing arrives, it will have no sorrow attached. What feels like postponement to you has been a precise orchestration behind the veil. And now, that veil is thinning. You feel the tension in your spirit not because nothing is happening but because something massive is pushing through. Do not let the lie of too long take root in your heart. My purpose doesn't expire. My promises do not expire. The enemy wants you to believe that your opportunity missed you, but he is wrong. What I have prepared has no replacement. It will not settle in someone else's life. It is preserved for you. I've hidden it from premature access and secured it with divine authority. What is yours is protected. The delay was not inactivity, it was insulation. If I had released it when you begged, you would have stepped into it unprepared, surrounded by people not assigned to your future. But now you are stronger. Now you know how to recognize my voice above the noise. Now you will carry the blessing with gratitude instead of pride. And that is why it's moving forward. Delay has served its purpose and will no longer hold you. What was barricading your progress is breaking. I speak this clearly. It will not be delayed any longer. The hands that tried to slow your arrival will be removed. The forces that tried to stop your movement will be dismantled. I am lifting the restriction because the timing is full. What I ordained will enter your life in a way that brings clarity, speed, and peace. And when it does, it will not be shaken. Not this time. So hold fast. The delay was real, but it is now defeated. You're stepping into fulfillment with every step you take forward. Keep going. Don't back away from this moment. The next shift begins now. My child, you've been surrounded by noise. Yet the area you needed to hear from me most has remained quiet. You've prayed for clarity, searched for confirmation, and waited for a sign, but in that one specific place where the silence echoes louder than words, there's been nothing. You thought I forgot. You wondered if I was withholding. But I want you to know, it wasn't neglect, it was timing. I don't speak just to fill the air with sound, I speak to shift destinies. And now, I am speaking into that exact corner of your heart, the place you locked away because it felt unanswered for too long. The dreams you laid down, the questions you stopped asking, the situations you walked away from thinking I'd never move again, I am breathing into them today. They are not forgotten. They are not dead. They are waiting for my command. You thought the silence meant I had closed the door, but truly, I was waiting for the right moment to speak a word that would break everything open without resistance. Right now, as you listen, I am stepping into that silence and filling it with a new sound hope. I am reviving what seemed untouchable. The relationships that looked irreparable, the opportunities you marked as over, the parts of your identity that faded away under pressure, I'm touching them. My word carries life, not just light. I do not shout over your pain, I enter it gently, deliberately, powerfully. What I am doing in your life now doesn't need a crowd. It doesn't need noise. It requires one voice, mine. And I am not silent anymore. You've waited long enough. I am filling that quiet place not with answers you expected, but with direction you didn't know you needed. I am restoring confidence where you've been second-guessing yourself. I am repairing the damage that others didn't even see. I am giving meaning to the seasons that felt like wilderness. There is no space in your heart too hidden for me to reach. There is no moment in your past that can intimidate my love. I am not just speaking into the situation, you are hearing me for the first time in a new way. This word will reach you deeply, not just emotionally but spiritually. I will guide you through what you assumed you'd never understand. What was silent is now sacred. What was dormant is now developing. Let others be distracted by noise. I am focused on the secret places within you. I came to bring healing, not just results. I came to bring vision, not just relief. I came to remind you that I still speak into places others walk away from. You don't need to explain this to anyone. Just receive it. I speak, and the atmosphere changes. I speak, and the foundation resents. You don't need a sign, I am the sign. You don't need the world's permission, you already have my promise. That silence in your life wasn't empty, it was holy. It was the place I planned to begin again. And that time is now. Let me speak, and don't rush the process. You're about to understand what I was doing all along. You've been carrying invisible restrictions that others couldn't see, walls built by fear, by past failures, by disappointments that harden your expectations. You didn't plan to settle, but circumstances kept narrowing your choices until you began to believe that limitation was your portion. You adjusted your faith to fit your reality, and you told yourself to be content with less than what was promised. But I never wrote limitation into your story. The barriers you've accepted were never placed by me. They were formed by years of spiritual fatigue, emotional wounds, and the echo of voices that told you to stop reaching so high. You've been told not to hope too boldly, not to ask for too much, not to believe too deeply. But I'm about to break through every word that tethered you to the ground. This is not just a blessing, it's a breakthrough of boundaries. You won't just receive something good, you will be pushed beyond the borders that once caged your thinking. I am removing the ceiling that hung over you for so long that you forgot how high I could lift you. I am erasing the lines drawn by fear and replacing them with the paths I designed long before you doubted. Where others said stop, I am saying expand. What was labeled impossible is now entering a realm where I have complete authority. You won't remain in the same circle repeating cycles. I am moving you into rooms where your name was never mentioned before, but your purpose is needed. There will be moments coming where you'll look around and realize, this is bigger than you could have constructed, planned, or even dreamed. And in that moment, you will know it was me who broke the limitation, not you, not them, not chance. Don't shrink to fit the old version of yourself. You're not returning to who you used to be. That season has closed. This blessing comes with new ground, and new ground requires a new mindset. I'm asking you to stop explaining what you're stepping into. Everyone won't understand how your boundaries changed so quickly, how the walls fell without warning. They didn't see how much pressure you carried just to keep believing. What I did. And that is why I've chosen this specific time to move you forward in a way that cannot be undone. You will not return to limitation. You will not be boxed in again. I am stretching the borders of your life, expanding your vision, multiplying your reach. You'll see the impact ripple beyond you into places and people you didn't even expect to touch. What held you back will no longer have a voice. Yet it's time. Now I speak. Every area that was labeled not enough is about to overflow. The scarcity you adjusted to is being replaced with surplus. The limitations you made peace with are being dismantled. The expectations others had for you are being overruled by what I've planned. I don't need approval to increase you. I don't require permission to bless you. I break limits because I am the God of expansion, of overflow, of more than enough. Watch what I do next, and don't apologize for it. Let it stretch you. Let it challenge you. Let it pull you into something unfamiliar and bigger than anything you've walked in before. His blessing is coming to destroy every thought that told you to stay small. It is here to prove that no limitation can survive my will. It is here to lift, build, and establish you in a space where you never again feel like you're confined. It will open more than just doors, it will open dimensions. Say open. I'm still not finished. There were stretches of time when the days blurred into one another, and you questioned whether anything was truly happening behind the scenes. You remained faithful even when the silence became exhausting, even when every passing hour felt like a reminder that the answer still hadn't arrived. In those moments, you didn't realize what I was weaving through the stillness. You saw inactivity, but I saw construction. You saw nothing changing, but I was reordering everything. Each prayer you thought went unnoticed, each moment you chose to believe without seeing, each step you took without confirmation, it was all preparing the way for what you're now stepping into. The waiting wasn't wasted. It was sacred ground where I cultivated resilience, vision, and surrender. What felt like delay was actually design. I used the time to align what your eyes couldn't perceive. There were pieces of the puzzle that needed to shift, hearts that needed to soften, situations that had to unfold just right so that when you stepped forward, there would be no resistance left to fight. If I had brought you into this too early, you would have entered with fragile faith and incomplete strength. But now, you carry a depth in your spirit that was formed in quietness. Now, you are equipped to handle the weight of the blessing, not just carry it, but sustain it. The long nights and the hidden sacrifices weren't ignored, they were noted, remembered, and sealed in heaven as testimony of your trust. You weren't just waiting, you were being trained. What you developed in private will now carry you through public places. I didn't remove you from the discomfort because it was there that I sharpened your discernment. I allowed space between your request and my release, not to frustrate you, but to refine you. I am not a god of rushed outcomes. I build what lasts. And I've been building something inside of you that this world cannot steal, corrupt, or break. You will walk into rooms with wisdom that doesn't match your age or education. You'll carry peace in places where others lose control. You'll speak with authority that was born in the fire of perseverance. You didn't fail in the way you grew in it. I saw how you chose me even when my answer was hidden. I watched you return to prayer again and again with no guarantee of timing. I noticed how you encouraged others while you were still waiting for encouragement yourself. That's what made this moment necessary. You can no longer be treated like you're still in preparation, you are entering fulfillment. The path that looked blocked is about to open because you followed me without a roadmap. You trusted when the outcome was blurry, and that trust will now become your elevation. Others might wonder how you stepped forward so fast, but you'll know it wasn't fast at all, it was a reward of long obedience. I don't forget the ones who wait with faith. I don't withhold from those who've endured quietly, honoring me while the world passed them by. The wait shaped you, and now the wait is over. You're stepping into a sequence of events I've kept reserved for this hour. What once felt delayed will now accelerate. What once felt overlooked will now be spotlighted. And it will all unfold so naturally that you'll realize why I asked you to trust me even when it didn't make sense. You didn't miss it. You didn't waste time. You didn't get left behind. You waited, and now it's here. There's a turning underway that may not be visible to those around you, but it is very real in the spiritual realm. You've been walking through seasons that seemed to drain more than they gave, leaving you with questions, scars, and moments that nearly silenced your belief. You've carried burdens no one else could feel, responded with grace while your soul battled heaviness, and kept going even when everything inside you wanted to stop. What you felt was senseless is now revealing its alignment. The confusion that haunted you in the valley is beginning to release its grip. You are entering the part of your story where nothing gets wasted, not the heartbreak, not the delay, not even the tears no one knew about. This is the shift where wounds turn into wisdom and loss makes room for destiny. What once felt like punishment is being unveiled as preparation. I am not asking you to erase what hurt you. I am showing you how I'm transforming it. You will no longer just survive the pain, you will use it. That ache you once tried to avoid will become the door you walk others through. The voice you thought was silenced is being restored with power, not just to speak about what happened, but to declare what emerged from it. You'll see that it was not the end, it was the beginning of everything I've been building behind the discomfort. You were not abandoned in the pain. I was sitting with you in it. I was holding you when no one understood. And now I am standing you back up, not as the same person who fell, but as someone who carries holy authority to rise. Every part of your journey, even the one you never shared aloud, is becoming a source of strength. You won't need to explain it all. You'll simply walk in a peace so tangible, others will know you've encountered something beyond natural healing. That's the beauty of what I'm doing. I'm not just erasing memory, I'm redeeming meaning. The purpose that is coming forth will anchor you, define your direction, and release others from chains like the ones you fought through. You didn't suffer for the sake of suffering. You endured because what I placed inside you needed to be protected through fire. I didn't cause the pain, but I will use it. I didn't ignore the ache, but I will reclaim it. What was meant to harden you will now soften others through your story. What was meant to confuse you will now bring clarity to the lost. You're no longer looking at pain as something to forget. You will see it as something I've refined. You will look at your scars and see strategy. You will revisit what broke you and realize that's where the oil began to pour. Others may see only the result, but I see your resilience. I see how you didn't quit. I see how you kept choosing me even when my voice felt distant. That is why this moment is sacred. Because the pain didn't destroy you, it delivered you. The sorrow didn't silence you, it positioned you. Now you are standing in the very place the enemy thought would ruin you, and instead, it is becoming the stage where my glory will shine through your life like never before. Let it be known nothing was wasted. And now, everything will be used. You tried to hold it together. You went through your day with a quiet strength, but the weight of it all reached a breaking point when no one was watching. As the world turned its eyes away and silence filled the room, you couldn't stop the tears. You didn't cry because you were weak, you cried because your heart was tired. You've been carrying invisible battles, holding on to promises with trembling hands, and showing up even when your soul had been barely able to stand. In those moments, when you released everything through your tears, I was not distant. I was closer than you realized, sitting with you in the dark, hearing every unspoken word carried in the sound of your weeping. What you didn't know is that your tears became the final drop that shifted something in the spirit. Last night's cry wasn't ignored, it was holy. It wasn't a breakdown, it was a breakthrough in disguise. While you sobbed quietly, heaven moved loudly. The moment your spirit cracked open in surrender, my hand stretched out in release. You cried from exhaustion, but I received it as an offering of trust. And now I respond not with pity, but with power. Not with temporary relief, but with irreversible favor. I don't forget the cries made in secret. I do not overlook the prayers whispered between sobs. I honor them. I act upon them. And I use them as a divine signal that says, it is time. Today is not an ordinary day. It marks a shift, a turning point where the pain you tried to carry alone becomes the place I pour my abundance. Where others see breakdown, I see readiness. You didn't plan for anyone to witness that moment, but I did. And because you let the mask fall and the truth rise, I'm releasing something that only tears could unlock. This isn't about being rescued, it's about being remembered. I saw every tear fall, and now, I pour favor in response. You'll notice it in the unexpected, yes. You'll see it in the hearts that begin to turn in your favor. You'll feel it in the sudden lifting of emotional heaviness you couldn't explain. Doors will open without you knocking. Conversations will shift without your effort. The places that once seemed closed will become accessible. Not because you pushed, but because I responded. You thought you were falling apart, but I was putting everything in place. You assumed it was another night of disappointment, but it was actually the birthing of a divine turning. What moved you to tears moved me to act. And now, you will begin to see signs that align with the very things you've asked me in your most vulnerable state. You will walk through spaces today and feel the shift, not because everything looks different yet, but because your spirit will recognize my hand has come ahead of you. I'm not offering a temporary bandage. I am bestowing lasting favor that touches every part of your life, your mind, your relationships, your decisions, your provision. This is not a moment of sympathy. This is a moment of divine exchange. What broke your heart last night becomes the ground where I plant restoration today. You don't need to perform. You don't need to prove. The tears were enough. They told me everything. And because of them, I will now surround you with what you didn't even have the strength to ask for. Lift your head. The night is over. The tears were seen. And now, the response begins. There have been moments lately where your eyes have become overwhelmed by what surrounds you. The people, the pressure, the uncertainty, they all seem to pull your focus in different directions. You've tried to stay steady, but the more you observe what's happening around you, the more unstable you begin to feel inside. Every update brings more questions. Every situation you can't control begins to weigh heavily on your spirit. The atmosphere around you has been shifting rapidly, and it's tempting to believe that you're being buried beneath the chaos. But even now, I ask you to redirect your focus, not because what you see is imaginary, but because what I'm doing goes far beyond what your eyes can measure. This is the moment where faith is chosen not because you feel strong, but because you trust where you're looking. If you stay fixated on the storms around you, your heart will become heavy with fear, confusion, and doubt. But if you look at me, you will find rest, even when the winds do not stop. I have not called you to ignore reality, I've called you to see through it. What you see is temporary, but what I'm doing in the unseen is permanent. You've been letting your eyes lead your heart, but now I want your heart to lead your vision. Not everything visible is the truth. Not every loud voice speaks wisdom. I want you to tune out the noise and tune into my presence. I have not left you. I have not lost control. I am still guiding every step you take, even if the path looks unclear. When Peter stepped onto the water, the storm didn't stop first. You walked while the wind raged. You moved forward while the waves roared. A miracle didn't begin with stillness, it began with focus. And when his eyes drifted away from me, he began to sink, not because I stopped holding him, but because he stopped looking. I remind you of this not to condemn, but to realign. You are walking in unfamiliar territory, and the enemy knows that if he can distract your gaze, he can drain your courage. But you were never meant to walk by sight. You were made to walk by faith. That's how you'll make it through this. That's how you'll remain grounded when nothing around you is steady. I don't need the situation to calm before I bless you. I don't need the storm to end before I lift you. You've been waiting for everything to appear peaceful before moving forward, but the blessing is not delayed by what you see. It is released by what you believe. I have already started something in your life that no external shift can stop. You're not late. You're not off track. You're just learning to see differently. And once your eyes are fixed on me, everything else will begin to take its rightful place beneath your feet. Even the most overwhelming circumstances must bow when you lock eyes with the one who created the wind and sea. This is not the end of your stability, it's the beginning of a deeper anchoring. What you once saw as instability, I now turn into training. What once made you panic will soon strengthen your peace. The ground may feel like it's moving beneath you, but my hand is not. I am still holding you steady. Not everything around you has to change for you to find calm. I am the calm within you. So take your eyes off the waves for a moment. Return your gaze to me. Let me remind you of who you are, who I am, and what we are building together. This is not the part where you fall, this is the part where you learn to walk on what once tried to drown you. You've been questioned more than you've been understood. At times, you've been surrounded by people who saw only the surface of your life, while dismissing the depth of what I've been cultivating inside you. They saw a delay and assumed it was failure. They watched your struggle and assumed I wasn't with you. There were moments you felt pressure to explain yourself, to prove your value, to make others see the vision you carry. But no matter how clear you tried to be, they couldn't comprehend what I whispered into your spirit. You've been treated like an afterthought, talked about like a lost cause, observed like someone who missed their moment, but none of their conclusions were accurate. They saw what was visible, but I've been working in a realm far beyond their reach. Now, I am about to demonstrate something that will not require your defense. What I release in this next move will carry its own evidence. The things I've kept concealed for a time are being prepared for open display. This blessing isn't just about restoration, it's about distinction. Those who misunderstood your journey will witness what I've always seen in you. I'm not lifting you to prove them wrong, I'm lifting you to prove me right. And in doing so, it will become clear to everyone watching that I was the one who was with you the whole time. I've heard the private conversations, the dismissive attitudes, the quiet mockery, and the careless conclusions made about your process. I didn't respond before because I wasn't finished yet. But now, the season of silence is turning into a season of revelation. You don't need to worry about being validated by people. What I'm about to do will silence every voice that tried to label your purpose prematurely. This will not be subtle. It will not be small. I've preserved you for something that cannot be explained through natural reasoning. You're stepping into favor that looks unfair to those who only saw your hardship. It's not because you forced it, it's because you trusted me when it looked like nothing was happening. I am going to elevate you in ways that will make people revisit what they thought they knew about you. The same mouths that spoke doubt will begin to speak differently, not because of persuasion, but because of undeniable evidence. This is the moment where the tables begin to turn, not with revenge, but with revelation. You're not going to have to shout for recognition. Your life will carry the sound of fulfillment. The fruit of this season will speak louder than any accusation. And those who once viewed you through the lens of your struggle will have no choice but to acknowledge the glory I'm placing on your life. You were never defined by what they said. You were defined by what I declared over you in the secret place. And that is what's about to come forth. You won't need to argue. You won't need to defend. I am your vindication. I am your clarity. I am the one who held your reputation while others played with it. And I will not allow the mocking to have the final word. I will make it clear that you were always walking under my hand even when the evidence wasn't visible. This next season is not about popularity, it's about purpose, being revealed without apology. I've hidden you long enough. And now, I reveal you not for attention but for impact. So let them look. Let them talk. Let them watch. Because what comes next will not only bless you, it will be a lesson to every person who ever thought I had forgotten you. There were seasons when you gave me your full trust and received silence in return. You placed your hope in my promises and waited without knowing when or how things would unfold. You chose me over shortcuts. You chose faith over convenience. You walked away from opportunities that seemed easier because your spirit told you they weren't aligned with me. While others ran ahead, you stood still with integrity. While some compromised to reach the top, you stayed rooted in me, even if it cost you time, resources, and relationships. And though you've never said it out loud, you've had moments where you quietly wondered whether all this trust would ever lead to visible reward. This is where I show you that not one act of faith was wasted. I've watched every decision you made out of obedience, every yes you gave me even when your flesh wanted to turn away. I've seen how you resisted temptation when no one else would have known. I've noticed how you encouraged others while your own heart was aching. And now, the time has come where the unseen roots of your trust begin to bear fruit. This next season will not be built by striving, it will be a response to the foundation you laid in trust. I never overlook the sacrifice it takes to keep believing when results are hidden. I never dismiss the cost of choosing me over the world. And I surely don't forget the tears you wiped away quietly just to keep moving forward with faith. You weren't foolish to depend on me. You were wise enough to know that what I give lasts longer than what the world offers. I am now going to make it visible. Others will look at your life and ask, how did this happen so quickly? But you and I will know it didn't happen quickly. It was built through years of quiet surrender. The favor you're about to walk in will not make sense to those who watched you struggle, because they only saw the surface. They didn't see the nights you battled doubt and still chose to speak life. They didn't see the days you praised through pain. But I saw it all, and I will honor every part of it. This will not just be a season of receiving, it will be a season of revealing. I will make it clear that your choice to trust me was the wisest decision you ever made. The fruit that comes now will overflow. The influence I release will go further than you imagined. The tables that are being prepared will not be temporary, they are a permanent part of what I've established for you. You will not just be blessed, you will be anchored in blessing. No more wondering if your obedience counted. No more asking if I saw your effort. No more questioning whether it made a difference. I will leave no room for doubt. You will walk into opportunities you didn't chase. You will receive honor in places where you were once overlooked. You will carry peace in areas that used to be ruled by anxiety. I will establish you so thoroughly that you'll never again question if I truly reward those who trust me. The trust you gave me is now becoming the key to doors you didn't even know existed. You never wasted time by waiting on me. Time spent in faith is time multiplied by grace. So keep your eyes forward. What's about to unfold will answer questions that have lingered in your soul for years. Not only will you know that trusting me was worth it, others will know it too. And through your life, they'll begin to see what trust in me really looks like when it's fulfilled. The balance in your life has felt uneven for far too long. You've watched others receive what they didn't labor for while you stayed planted, pressing through seasons that gave you little in return. The things you lost were never small. The decisions you had to make cost you more than anyone realizes. You held on through spiritual storms that tried to pull you apart from the inside. In many ways, it looked like your sacrifice only led to subtraction. The math didn't add up. The more you gave, the less you had. The more you believed, the more resistance came. And even though you trusted me, deep down, there was a question that never quite went away: when will it all be made right? Now you are entering the season where I answer that without words. What I am releasing is not just a reward, it is a reversal. I am not merely giving something new. I am taking what was stolen, buried, misused, or neglected and flipping it into a testimony of restoration. The people who thought they'd moved on without consequence will see that I was watching. The situations that appeared to have broken you beyond repair will now produce power. Every wrong turn that left you bruised is being met with a divine correction that brings peace, not pain. You will not carry forward the imbalance that tried to define your life. I am rebalancing the weight that pressed against you for years. This isn't about getting even, it's about restoring alignment. I am reestablishing what was disrupted, and I'm doing it in such a way that you won't even remember the sting. The blessing that's coming is strategic. It's tailored to the voids you thought would never be filled. This reversal is not just external, it will heal something internal. You will begin to feel differently about the seasons that once confused you. They will start to make sense as the reversal unfolds, piece by piece. Where you experienced loss, you will now walk in lasting gain. Where you were ignored, you will be sought out. Where you were broken, you will become a builder for others. You don't need to chase this. You don't need to orchestrate it. I've already set it in motion. You'll begin to notice the shift in the atmosphere. The conversations will change. The posture of those around you will shift. What was once heavy to explain will now be impossible to deny. This reversal is not a temporary fix, it's a holy pivot. The trajectory of your life is being altered, not because of force, but because of favor. And no one will be able to say it was your effort alone. They'll see my hand. They'll feel my presence through the outcomes. And they'll know that I did this. I want you to walk into this without apology. Stop trying to defend what I'm doing. Let the blessing speak for itself. Let the reversal happen naturally. You've done your part in the valley. Now allow me to do mine on the mountaintop. You are not being elevated for show, you are being restored for purpose. The way to what's coming will be different. It won't exhaust you. It will empower you. This reversal will not return you to who you were, it will release you into who I always knew you could be. Let every place where you were once reduced be a place I now expand. Let every moment where you were cast aside be the exact space where I place you with prominence. You will not only experience the shift, you will become the evidence of it. And through your transformation, others will come to believe that I still reverse what the enemy tried to finalize. There have been seasons where your peace was stolen, your name was mishandled, and your hope was pushed to the edge by unseen forces working behind situations you couldn't fully explain. You tried to keep going, even while carrying damage others didn't recognize. Pieces of your joy were slowly chipped away. Relationships you trusted unraveled without warning. There were moments when you sensed that what you were facing wasn't natural, that something was attacking the very core of your purpose. And though you stayed faithful, though you continued to pray, you felt like things were being stripped from you faster than you could rebuild. You've cried over opportunities that disappeared, promises that seemed erased, and energy that never fully returned. but I am now reaching into the places where loss was orchestrated and declaring full recovery. What the enemy placed his hands on will not remain in his grasp. I saw what he tried to dismantle, and I allowed it for a time not to harm you but to reveal what could not be shaken. What the adversary thought would destroy you only exposed the depth of your foundation. You didn't give up when it would have been easier. You did run when the attacks came from directions you didn't expect. And now, because you endured, I am moving to restore. This restoration is not partial. I'm not returning pieces. I'm restoring fullness. What was tended will be made clean. What was delayed will be accelerated. I am returning strength to the areas that have felt weak for far too long. Your mental clarity, your confidence, your peace of mind, your sense of direction, all of it is coming back. And this time, it's coming with greater security because it is wrapped in my protection. I am not simply reversing damage. I am placing divine covering over what I give back so it will not be touched again. There are some things you thought were gone forever, but they were never completely removed. They were hidden for protection until the time of return. I am releasing what I have preserved. I'm calling back connections that were interrupted unfairly. I'm reactivating doors that were shut prematurely. I'm breathing into the dry areas that once flourished. You'll begin to feel restoration not just in your circumstances, but in your soul. The heaviness you adjusted to is lifting. The fatigue that lingered without reason is breaking. You'll begin to dream again without fear that it will all fall apart. That's how you will know it's me, because the restoration will be steady, complete, and undeniable. You've had to live with unanswered questions. You've had to walk through long nights with no confirmation. You had to endure cycles of loss that seemed to come without warning. But all of that ends now. The season of exposure is over. This is the season of return. I am redeeming time, reviving purpose, and reclaiming every place the enemy dared to interfere with your life. What was touched will be transformed. What was broken will be blessed. I am making it clear that my authority outweighs every dark plan formed against you. You don't need to retaliate. You don't need to revisit the hurt. Let me handle it. Focus on what's being restored, not what was removed. Your attention belongs on what's ahead, not what tried to break you. The power of this restoration lies in your ability to walk forward without dragging the past into your future. I will not only restore what was taken, I will multiply it. You'll see the return in places you didn't expect. You'll feel the renewal in ways you never imagined. You'll live with the clarity that what the enemy touched has now been reclaimed, refined, and returned by the hand of your Redeemer. Much of your journey has been marked by unseen work, private growth, quiet perseverance, and faithfulness that received little recognition. You've done what was right when it would have been easier to take the quicker path. You've walked with integrity in places where others compromised. At times, it has felt like your obedience was hidden, your labor unnoticed, your voice overlooked. You've stood in places where your presence felt invisible, not because you lacked value, but because it wasn't yet your time to be revealed. And though you didn't say it aloud, there were moments when you wondered if your name would ever carry the weight of favor. Now, I want you to understand that conversations are happening about you where you're not present, but I am. I have placed your name in the hearts of people who are being positioned to carry your next assignment forward. What was once spoken against you in whispers is now being spoken in your favor. Doors are being prepared. Platforms are being arranged. You have not missed your moment. It has been waiting for you to mature into it. The lifting of your name is not built on status or popularity, but on the foundation of your consistency when no one was watching. I don't need a crowd to promote you. I don't need a stage to validate you. I lift people in divine moments, in unexpected ways, for purposes that go beyond surface recognition. You've been tested with delay and proved trustworthy. You've been refined in silence, and now I am announcing your name in spaces where decisions are being made. The people you haven't met yet are already sensing a reason to connect with you. The opportunities you thought were closed off are being restructured to make room for your arrival. What I am orchestrating now is far beyond what any resume or reputation can explain. It is divine alignment. Don't chase rooms that aren't yours. Stay rooted where I've placed you, and trust that I'm moving on your behalf in the unseen. I am not slow in my timing, I'm perfect in my process. I don't promote based on popularity, I elevate based on purpose. You will be called, not because you demanded attention, but because you were faithful when it felt like you were being forgotten. You will be remembered, not for what the world applauded, but for what heaven recorded. The places you thought were inaccessible will soon recognize the gift I've placed within you. And when the invitation comes, you will know it wasn't by chance, it was by design. This lifting is not about vanity, it's about visibility for my glory. You will not enter these rooms to impress. You will enter to impact. The influence I'm giving you is meant to carry light into dark spaces, healing into broken systems, and truth into environments desperate for clarity. You will walk through these new doors with humility, not insecurity. You will sit in rooms you once dreamed of with the peace of someone who knows they were sent, not someone who's trying to earn their place. There's a shift taking place even now. You may not feel it yet, but soon you'll see the results. The delays are being overturned. The silence is becoming strategy. The preparation is becoming placement. You won't have to force your way into influence, I've already gone ahead and made the way. And as you remain faithful to me, your name will continue to rise, not for the sake of pride, but for the fulfillment of purpose. So keep building. Keep trusting. Keep walking with grace. I am placing your name exactly where it needs to be so that when the moment comes, you won't just be invited in, you'll be expected. There were times when doors closed without warning and explanations never came. You stood in places where you gave your best, yet your value was dismissed as if it held no weight. You entered relationships with pure motives, only to be left questioning your worth when the loyalty wasn't returned. You've carried the sting of being overlooked, the silence of being ignored, and the emptiness that follows when you've poured yourself out and received nothing in return. You weren't searching for applause, you were seeking alignment, connection, and sincerity. But what you encountered instead was rejection that left more than a bruise. It left you wondering if you should stop trying altogether. Now, I want you to hear me clearly. I am flipping that rejection into a new form of recognition. Not the kind that inflates ego, but the kind that affirms identity. What you lost was not a reflection of your lack. It was my redirection. I allowed the separation, not to harm you, but to position you. I removed what looked stable because it would have undermined your calling. I withheld approval from certain people because their presence would have diluted your purpose. You assumed you were being discarded, but I was guarding something sacred inside you. And now, the time has come where what was rejected becomes what is remembered. You're not who you were when they walked away. You've grown deeper, stronger, wiser. You no longer need validation to feel secure. You're no longer chasing rooms where your voice was silenced. You've learned how to hear me louder than their absence. And that posture of quiet strength is what's about to draw new attention, not to who you were, but to who you've become. This recognition isn't coming because you demanded it, it's coming because you became it. You've walked through fire and remained faithful. You've endured the tension of not being chosen, and still chose to remain kind. And now, what I'm about to do will shine a light on what was hidden beneath the weight of rejection. You will walk into spaces where your presence is no longer questioned, it will be requested. The same environments that once dismissed you will be the very places that need what you carry. Your value has not changed. What's changed is the season. I am releasing visibility now because the pain that tried to break you has birthed substance in you. You're no longer defined by who left, you're defined by the one who stayed. And I never left. I watch how you handled rejection. I saw your restraint. I measured your humility. And now I reward what was kept in secret with recognition that no one can deny. Let them look. Let them remember. Let them wonder how the one they once dismissed now carries something they cannot replicate. This isn't about status, it's about stewardship. You were entrusted with rejection, and you turned it into reverence. You didn't allow bitterness to grow. You didn't return insult for insult. And because you allowed me to shape you through it, I now trust you with greater visibility. Don't be surprised when the ones who left return with questions. Don't be startled when your name is brought up in circles that once rejected it. Don't be shaken when those who doubted you are now asking how to do what you've done. You won't need to explain yourself. Let your life speak. Let the grace I've placed on you be louder than anything you could ever say. This is the day rejection loses its grip. It will no longer define how you see yourself. You are not behind, you're being lifted. And as I bring you into places of recognition, walk with the same humility that carried you through the silence. Because now, what once wounded you becomes the proof that I was with you all along. There have been countless times when you walked through days where your presence felt unnoticed and your heart felt unheard. You gave love, yet it went unreciprocated. You poured out wisdom, yet it was dismissed. You tried to speak, but your voice was overruled. You stepped into situations to offer help, but your presence was ignored as if it made no difference. In crowds, you felt alone. In friendships, you felt unseen. Even in moments of silence with me, you wondered if I truly saw you or if your voice simply vanished into the sky. There was a heaviness to being overlooked, a dull ache that words couldn't describe, and yet you carried it with quiet dignity. I want you to know with certainty that you have never been hidden from my sight. I have watched every step you took, even the ones that felt slow and hesitant. I have listened to the thoughts you didn't say aloud. I have stood with you in rooms where you felt invisible, and I held your name close to my heart while others forgot it. You've never needed to fight for my attention, it's always been on you. You don't blend into the crowd when I look at you. You stand out as someone I formed with intention, shaped with care, and set apart for something only you can fulfill. I didn't overlook you in your earliest tears, and I won't overlook you now. The world may celebrate what's loud and seen, but I celebrate what's faithful and consistent. You didn't need to perform to be valuable. You didn't need a platform to be chosen. You didn't need attention to be anointed. I chose you before anyone had an opinion about you. I spoke your name before you ever had the language to respond. What others forgot, I remembered. What others bypassed, I preserved. And now, I am revealing what I've known all along, that your life carries meaning, purpose, and divine weight. You stood on the outside for long enough. Now, I am pulling you into the center of what I'm doing. Not because you've demanded it, but because you've been prepared for it. The invisibility you felt in past seasons was never abandonment, it was insulation. I shielded you while your roots went deeper. I kept you hidden while your foundation was being fortified. And now that you've grown strong in silence, I am bringing your name into alignment with your assignment. You won't need to announce yourself. You won't need to strive to be seen. I will reveal you at the right time, in the right places, with the right people, and nothing can stop it. You are not lost in the background. You are not forgotten in the noise. You are not a shadow of someone else's story. You are the main character in the calling I've given you. You don't need to prove your worth. I've already declared it. Your identity is not rooted in how visible you are to others, it's rooted in how known you are to me. And I know you fully. I've numbered your hairs. I've counted your tears. I've memorized your hopes. I've etched your name on my heart, and it cannot be erased. Let this truth settle in your spirit today. You are seen. You are known. You are cherished. And you are rising not because the world has noticed you, but because heaven has always seen you clearly. This is not the beginning of your story, it's the unveiling of what I've always placed within you. There are spaces you've avoided, situations you've hesitated to confront, and people you've chosen to distance yourself from, not because you lack courage, but because the weight of past experiences made those places feel unsafe. The memories attached to certain environments left imprints that haven't fully faded. Each time you've come close to returning to those conversations or revisiting that space, your heart began to race with the anticipation of being misunderstood, hurt, or exposed again. You've been asking for guidance, for a sign, for confirmation that you're not walking into these things alone. And in the quiet moments, even though you've prayed, you've still felt the tension between moving forward and protecting yourself. But what you couldn't see is that I've already gone before you, and I've assigned my messengers to prepare the ground. You are not stepping into those places as you once did. You are not returning alone. The spiritual realm has shifted, and where fear used to echo my presence now speaks. I have dispatched my angels not just to surround you, but to enter ahead of you, to disarm what once intimidated you, and to set divine order where confusion used to reign. The anxiety you felt is not a warning to retreat, it's the last trembling of fear being broken by my authority. The atmosphere you're entering has already been rearranged by heaven. What once drained your peace will now yield to it. The people who once dismissed you will now listen. The conversations you feared would unravel your composure will now unfold with unexpected grace. This isn't about proving yourself, it's about walking in the protection that's already been placed around you. I'm not asking you to pretend to be fearless. I'm asking you to recognize that fear has no jurisdiction in spaces where my power has already been established. You won't need to speak defensively. Your posture will carry peace. Your responses will be shaped by wisdom. And where conflict once lived, clarity will begin to take root. I've positioned spiritual guardians over your steps, not as decoration, but as defenders of destiny. You won't be ambushed. You won't be thrown off course. I've sealed this moment with layers of unseen strength. And while others may not understand the calm you carry, you'll know that it's because you're not walking in unaccompanied. You've been covered strategically, silently, completely. This isn't just about protection. It's about placement. I'm returning you to spaces the enemy tried to claim as ground of shame, trauma, or regret, and I'm transforming them into places of testimony. You'll go back, not as the wounded version of yourself, but as the healed one. You'll enter the room that once held tension, and instead of shrinking, you'll stand tall not with pride, but with quiet authority. My angels haven't just been sent to watch over you. They've been given specific instruction. Nothing that doesn't align with my will shall pass through the doors I open for you. Trust this covering. Walk into the space. Speak with the confidence that comes not from rehearsed words but from divine backing. You don't have to explain why you're calm, you only need to be present. My messengers are taking their place beside you. They are guarding what you carry. They are enforcing what I've promised. And they are making room in rooms that once rejected you. What you feared will no longer paralyze you, because my presence is no longer standing at the edge, it's already seated within the space. So take the step. Don't run from what used to intimidate you. I've changed the story. And now, you walk in fully covered, fully backed, fully surrounded. Not just by my spirit but by angels who know your name and walk beside your purpose. There have been departures that left you confused. Some people you thought would walk with you for a lifetime drifted without warning. Others made their exit loud and painful. You tried to understand why loyalty was broken and why those you held space for no longer held space for you. At times, you blamed yourself. You replayed conversations, trying to find where it went wrong. You wondered if you had done more, given more, or prayed harder, whether they might have stayed. But no matter how much effort you gave or how much heart you invested, they still left, and their absence left gaps you didn't know how to fill. What you couldn't see then was that their leaving couldn't undo what I placed inside you. Your calling was never built on their presence. It wasn't sustained by their affirmation. What I authored in your life didn't begin with their support, and it won't end with their absence. The withdrawal of people does not equate to the withdrawal of my plan. I allow some departures to protect what you're building. I allow exits not to punish you, but to purify the path ahead. I remove voices that would have clouded your focus. I distance distractions that once disguised themselves as loyalty. And in doing so, I remind you that the mission I've given you has always rested on my word, not their approval. The space they left behind will not remain empty, it will be filled with peace, clarity, and purpose. You won't have to replace them with replicas. I'm not giving you substitutions. I'm giving you alignment. The people I bring next will not compete with your calling, they'll complement it. They'll carry pieces of the vision with you, not try to reshape it around their preferences. You're not stepping backward because of who left, you're actually being pulled forward with less weight and more focus. I saw how deeply it hurt. I watched how you wrestled with grief silently. But I also saw how you kept showing up. You didn't allow bitterness to settle. You didn't let disappointment define your character. You loved even after loss. You remained faithful when it would have been easier to retreat. And now I am honoring that unseen endurance. The strength you gained from their departure will now become the strength you use in your next elevation. What I'm unfolding in your life cannot be sabotaged by those who decided not to stay. You don't need to resent them. You don't need to chase closure. The calling is still active. The promise is still alive. Their absence didn't delay the timeline, I've already accounted for it. You will step into rooms they thought you'd never enter. You will carry blessings they didn't believe you were qualified to receive. But this isn't about proving anything to them, it's about fulfilling everything I've declared over you. So stop mourning what walked away. Trust that I saw something you couldn't. I know where your purpose needs protection, and I will never let attachment override your assignment. You are still chosen. You are still appointed. And you are still moving forward, not in spite of who left, but because I cleared the path for what's coming next. There's a specific area in your life that has quietly remained untouched for some time. It's the place where your enthusiasm faded, where the brightness dimmed, and where hope used to live freely before disappointment settled in. You didn't intend to let it go. It slowly slipped through your hands after too many days of trying and not seeing results, after hearing too many no's, after walking through too many setbacks in the same space. You've smiled in other areas, progressed in other directions, and even received healing in some wounds, but this particular place still feels like a room in your soul where the curtains remain drawn. You visit it in your thoughts, but avoid it in your prayers. And because it felt so personal, you've left it in silence, wondering if I ever intended to return there. But what you've left alone, I am now touching with fresh life. I haven't overlooked the space where you lost joy. I haven't forgotten where your laughter stopped sounding the same. I am returning to that very place, not to remind you of what went wrong, but to resurrect what's been dormant. Your joy is not gone, it's been waiting for permission to return. And I say now, it's time. You won't need to recreate what you once had. I'm not reviving the old, I'm restoring something greater. The joy that comes back will not be temporary or fragile. It won't be dependent on people, performance, or circumstances. It will be rooted in me, in the depth of your renewed trust, and it will rise stronger than before. This place, this exact one where things once fell apart, is about to become the very location where your heart begins to beat with new rhythm again. The heaviness that lingered without name will start to lift. The numbness that crept in quietly will begin to thaw. You'll find yourself smiling without forcing it. You'll hear laughter rise from your soul that sounds unfamiliar because it's coming from the version of you that was formed through perseverance, surrender, and grace. This restoration isn't about pretending things never hurt. It's about showing you that even what once brought pain can become a source of joy again, when touched by my hand. I never intended for you to settle into that loss. I allowed the pause not to punish you, but to prepare you. Now that your roots have grown deeper, your joy can rise taller. I'm restoring it in such a way that you won't fear losing it again. It won't come with anxiety. It will return fragile or scattered. It will return anchored and overflowing. The tears you cried in that space have not only been counted, they've been collected, and I am using them to water what's about to bloom. This restoration will surprise you. It will catch you in ordinary moments. It will unfold gently, then powerfully. You'll walk into familiar spaces and feel different. You'll interact with people or ideas that once triggered sadness and find peace instead. This isn't a trick your mind is playing, it's the power of healing becoming reality. I've waited for this moment. I've watched as you continued forward, even when part of your joy stayed behind. And now I reunite you with what was always meant to remain part of you. No more ignoring that part of your heart. I'm entering it, filling it, and healing it. What the enemy tried to extinguish will now burn bright again. The very place that once felt like your ending will become the evidence of your renewal. So open the door to this space. Let me in fully. The joy you thought you lost forever is not only returning, it's about to overflow. Throughout your life, you've encountered moments where words landed on your spirit like stones. Some were said out loud, others were whispered behind your back, and a few were never spoken, but carried in attitudes that made you feel less than whole. Words were used to define you, to limit you, to put you in boxes you didn't belong in. Some words were spoken by people who didn't know better. Others came from those you trusted. You've carried the weight of labels that were never yours. You've been pushed into roles that diminished your voice and identity. There were things said about your future, your potential, your character spoken out of bitterness, jealousy, or blindness that lodged themselves in your memory and shaped how you saw yourself. Right now, I am breaking every single one of them. Those words that tried to curse what I called blessed no longer have the authority to linger over your life. They are being dismantled, stripped of power, and removed from your atmosphere. I am not just undoing their impact, I am reversing the lies they tried to plant. No curse stands in the presence of my truth. No insult can take root when I have already declared who you are. Even the silent agreements you made with those lies out of fatigue, out of shame, or out of fear are being broken now. You are no longer required to carry the echo of their voices when I have given you a voice of your own. You were never defined by the opinions of others. You are not a reflection of their rejection. You are a reflection of my intention. I created you with purpose, with vision, with identity that cannot be rewritten by false narratives. Every time you've been made to feel like a mistake, I have remained the truth in your story. Every curse that tried to form a barrier around your potential is being shattered, and not one of them can follow you into where I'm taking you. You'll begin to notice the difference. The heaviness around your name will lift. The inner conflict that kept you second-guessing yourself will dissolve. The pressure to shrink to fit someone else's comfort will no longer rest on your shoulders. I am clearing the residue of every insult, judgment, and false label. You will no longer hear them in your thoughts when you try to take bold steps. You will no longer feel them weighing on your chest when you speak. I am giving you freedom from every spoken word that tried to curse what I designed. I am not just silencing the curses, I am blessing you in their place. Where words once tried to tear you down, my words are lifting you. Where shame tried to settle, peace is now rising. Where criticism created insecurity, I am placing confidence. You'll not only recover from the damage, you'll rise with clarity about who you really are. I am writing your internal language. The way you talk to yourself, the way you see yourself, the way you walk into rooms, all of it is changing. Because when I break a curse, I don't just remove the attack, I replace it with promise. You'll know that this freedom is real when you no longer flinch at the memory. When you no longer carry tension around those who once spoke against you. When you can hear your own voice again restored, steady, sure. And from that place, you'll speak life into others who are still learning how to silence the same lies. You won't carry bitterness, you'll carry healing. Because I didn't just set you free for your own sake, I'm raising you to be a living answer to those who have endured the same wounds. So lift your head. The weight of their words is gone. Their voice no longer shapes your value. My truth now echoes louder, and it will never be silenced again. There have been long seasons where your presence seemed tucked away, where your efforts remained unseen and your impact unnoticed. You watched others step into their moments while you remained behind the scenes, wondering if you were being overlooked or if your time had somehow passed. You didn't stop walking, but you began to wonder if all the silent work, all the quiet growth, and all the faithful endurance would ever lead to anything visible. There were moments when the stillness felt like delay, and the obscurity began to feel like rejection. You honored me in the background while part of you longed to be brought into the light. What you experienced as hiding was actually holy preservation. I was not withholding opportunity, I was maturing character. I wasn't keeping you small, I was strengthening you for what's ahead. The layers I've been building in you beneath the surface will now support the weight of the visibility I'm about to release. This is not a rushed unveiling. This is the precise moment where what I've cultivated in private becomes evident in public. The time has come for the light I placed within you to shine beyond the borders that once contained you. The silence trained your discernment. The hidden place shaped your identity. The quiet seasons forced your roots to grow deep, and now that your foundation is strong, I am bringing you into view not to entertain, not to impress, but to establish influence rooted in depth and truth. I reveal you now, not because you need to be seen, but because I've prepared you to be effective. You are not being exposed to the spotlight, you are being positioned for impact. What was once concealed for protection is now released for purpose. You won't need to announce yourself. I will do the lifting. I will guide the timing. I will determine the place. Your role is to continue walking in obedience, to carry what I've taught you, and to stay grounded in the humility that grew in the shadows. The fruit of your hidden faithfulness is about to bloom, and the fragrance of your surrender will reach places you didn't think were possible. You are not the same person who entered the season of hiddenness. You've grown in silence. You've become wiser in stillness. You've let go of needing constant affirmation. You've learned to rest in my presence when no one else understood what I was doing in your life. And now, as you begin to step forward, you will do so with confidence that doesn't depend on applause. You will carry a quiet strength that can't be shaken by attention or threatened by comparison. Your value was never in the spotlight, it was always in the substance I formed in you. As I bring you forward, don't try to recreate what others are doing. I didn't hide you so you could copy what's already visible. I kept you close so I could give you something different, something authentic, something weighty, something eternal. Let your authenticity be your introduction. Let your anointing speak for you. Let the years of private surrender shape every public step. The unveiling will not be chaotic, it will be marked by peace, clarity, and divine timing. You are not rising by accident. You are not stepping into this moment by chance. I planned this long before you questioned your place. I saw your name written in places you haven't walked into yet. I whispered your purpose into the atmosphere before the foundation of the world. And I waited for this moment not just so others could see you, but so they could see me in you. So walk forward without fear. You've been hidden for a reason. And now, you are being revealed with purpose. You didn't understand it at the time. The opportunity looked perfect. The timing felt right, and your heart was open. You had prayed, prepared, and positioned yourself for something that felt aligned, and yet, without warning, the door shut. Sometimes it was gradual, other times it was sudden. But each time it happened, it left behind confusion and the quiet ache of unfulfilled expectation. You wrestled with questions that had no immediate answer. Was it something you missed, something you did wrong, or simply a case of bad timing? You mourned what you thought was yours. You grieved the moment that slipped away, and you quietly carried the disappointment as a reminder of what didn't come to pass. But what you perceived as loss was actually me protecting you from what you couldn't see. I don't close doors without purpose. I don't withhold access to punish, I redirect to preserve. Not every open path leads to blessing. Not every appealing offer carries favor. I saw what was hidden behind those closed doors. I knew the weight that would have drained you, the connections that would have distracted you, and the timing that would have crushed what I was still building in you. You didn't lose what was yours. I simply never gave you what would have cost you more than you were meant to pay. I allowed the denial not as rejection, but as redirection. I watched you cry over plans that would have led to unnecessary battles. I stood beside you while your heart processed a no that felt like silence. And I never stopped being near, not for 1 second. Even when you didn't hear my voice, I was still speaking through the boundaries I set. My love isn't proven only in what I give, it's also revealed in what I don't allow. If I had let you through every door you knocked on, your spirit would have been stretched thin in places that didn't honor what I've placed inside you. Now you're beginning to see it. The peace you're carrying today would have been absent in those places. The The growth you've experienced wouldn't have been possible under the weight of something I never called you to hold. You're not behind. You're not forgotten. You're actually right on time because I've been guiding you with more than just yeses. I've been guiding you through holy restraint. What didn't open wasn't failure. It was divine filtration. I know how hard it was to let go. I know how long you held on to the hope that it might still turn around. But I want you to release the pain of that closed door now, not in regret, but in relief. You don't need to keep wondering why. You don't need to revisit that moment with heaviness. I've already handled what was on the other side, and what I'm opening for you now will make sense of what didn't open then. The clarity you longed for is arriving not just in understanding, but in fulfillment. There are new doors forming in places you haven't even looked yet. They will require you to force your way in. They'll swing open at the right moment, with the right people, for the right purpose. And this time, you'll walk through with peace, not pressure. You'll recognize the difference between what looks good and what's actually God. That discernment wasn't learned through ease, it was developed in the seasons where you trusted me without explanation. Let the door close. Let the chapter end. Let the space that once felt like a missed opportunity become a monument of my protection. Because what I'm preparing for you now doesn't require striving, it only requires trust. And when it opens, you'll walk through it knowing that no door I close is the end. It's only the beginning of something I've reserved just for you. There have been days when your efforts felt like they were scattered into the wind. You've worked with diligence, poured yourself into plans, given your best to tasks that seemed to carry no reward. At times, your labor felt like it went unnoticed, your creativity overlooked, and your consistency underappreciated. You've wondered if your work mattered, if what you carried was truly useful, and whether all your planning was just movement without meaning. Despite those feelings, you kept showing up. You kept giving your time, your energy, and your heart into everything I placed before you. Whether the outcome was clear or not, you remained faithful in the process. And now, I bless the very hands that kept moving even when they trembled. Your labor has not been in vain. I have seen the unseen sacrifices, the unseen details, the unseen persistence. I'm not just watching, I'm placing my hand upon yours. This blessing is not only for what you've already built, it's for what you're about to start. From this moment forward, everything you place your hands on, when aligned with my purpose, will be met with my backing. No longer will you carry the burden of trying to produce outcomes by your own strength. Where your hands go, my favor will follow. You are not just a worker, you are a vessel. You are not simply creating, you are collaborating with heaven. What may seem small in your sight is carrying weight in mine. The seeds you've planted in private are about to break open with fruitfulness in places you least expect. Your hands are being strengthened not just physically but spiritually. I am infusing them with precision, wisdom, and grace. They will touch what others miss. They will repair what others abandoned. They will build what others called impossible. You will notice that things begin to shift not because you're trying harder, but because my presence will rest upon your work. There will be unusual days where there was one struggle. There will be creative ideas that flow without exhaustion. The burden of performance will lift, and the clarity of purpose will take its place. I'm not only blessing the result, I'm blessing the process. I'm blessing the hours you commit, the intention you carry, and the excellence you pursue. You will move with both strategy and sensitivity to my voice. Let go of comparing your pace to others. Let go of wondering why some seem to advance faster. You are not behind. You are not lacking. You are now operating with my anointing upon your hands, and that changes everything. Where you once toiled in silence, you will now build with strength. Where you once doubted your capability, you will now move with confidence, not from your ability alone, but from the assurance that I am with you in every detail. This blessing isn't limited to one area. Whether you're building a business, a ministry, a home, a vision, or a new way of living, I will be in it. I'm blessing what you commit to me. I'm blessing what you steward with honor. I'm blessing what you don't rush but trust. And as you build, You won't do it empty-handed. I will supply what you need, open the doors you can't reach, and bring people alongside you whose hearts align with your purpose. So continue, not in anxiety but in peace. Your hands are no longer alone. They are blessed, supported, and directed. And everything they touch when guided by my spirit will flourish in its time. You've carried thoughts you've kept quiet for too long. There have been truths in your heart that remained unspoken, not because they weren't important, but because you questioned their value. You've watched others speak with confidence while you sat in silence, wondering if your words could make any difference. You've rehearsed things in your mind that never left your lips, buried encouragements before they reached others, and swallowed your insight in rooms that needed your perspective. At times, it wasn't fear of speaking, it was fear of being dismissed. And so, slowly, you taught yourself to speak less, to hold back, to wait for someone else to say what you carried inside. But I did not place that voice in you to stay hidden. The words I've planted in your spirit were not meant to remain in silence. They carry weight because they've been shaped by fire, formed through experience, and filled with compassion. Your voice hath been refined, not just for conversation, but for influence. I am stirring a boldness in you now, not one rooted in volume, but in clarity. You will not need to shout to be heard. You will speak from the place I've matured within you, and your words will carry the authority of someone who has walked with me through valleys and storms. What you carry matters in this moment. The wisdom you've been collecting is not accidental. It's time-sensitive and needed. Your insight will open hearts. Your encouragement will interrupt despair. Your story will break silence in others who thought no one else could understand them. The way you speak, measured, truthful, filled with light, will unlock strength in places where only weakness has lived. This isn't about being loud, it's about being led. And I am leading you to speak now, in places where your voice will shift the atmosphere. You don't need to prepare some perfect version of what to say. You only need to release what I give you. The courage to speak doesn't come from your confidence, it comes from your connection to me. I will give you the words. I will go ahead of them. I will settle the hearts of those who need to hear what you release. There is purpose in your perspective. There is revelation in your language. There is power in your story. You don't have to fear being misunderstood. I will clarify what needs to be heard and protect what needs to be preserved. Do not underestimate your voice because others have tried to silence it before. The voices of doubt that used to hold you back no longer have permission to shape your posture. The lies that told you your presence didn't matter are losing their grip. I have created space for you not just to exist, but to speak life. And what you say will carry fruit. It will be rooted in love and bloom in unexpected places. You are not too late to start speaking truth. You are not too soft to make a difference. You are not too broken to communicate healing. What you declare in this season will ripple into places you haven't even stepped yet. So speak with the awareness that your words are more than sound, they are seeds. Seeds of hope. Seeds of restoration. Seeds of realignment. You've spent enough time second-guessing what you carry. Now, I say, release it. Let the words rise. Let the truth find air. Let the testimony you've lived speak into the lives of those still waiting to believe. There is nothing small about your voice when it's surrendered to me. I've waited for this moment, where your heart and your courage finally meet. And now that they have, I will amplify what you say, not for fame, but for freedom. You've been present in moments where your words were overlooked, your efforts dismissed, and your insight undervalued. You didn't speak to seek praise, but you hoped to be understood. Still, many didn't take time to hear you. They nodded without listening. They responded without absorbing. Some disregarded your discernment because it didn't come with titles. Others dismissed your presence simply because they believed someone else was more important. You stood quietly, aware of the weight you carried but unwilling to push for attention. You told yourself it didn't matter. But deep down, the rejection left a mark that you've carried silently. Now, I am shifting the atmosphere that once silenced you. What I've placed within you is no longer going to be ignored. The voice that was once cast to the side is about to echo in places where it was once dismissed, not through pride or performance, but through the undeniable presence of my favor resting on your words. The people who once refused to listen will begin to recognize the truth you carry, not because you change how you speak, but because I'm changing how they hear. I'm adjusting the frequency of your influence so that when you speak, it is no longer an option to overlook you. I'm doing this not as revenge, but as redemption. This isn't about proving them wrong, it's about proving that I was always right to anoint you, even when no one saw it. You were never unqualified. You were never without value. You were simply ahead of the understanding of those around you. I was maturing your message while others were still measuring your appearance. And now that your voice has been refined by silence, tested through endurance, and filled with truth, I will send it back into those spaces, but this time, they will hear. You don't need to seek the spotlight. I will highlight what's necessary. You don't need to strive for acceptance. I will soften the hearts of those who once hardened themselves to your presence. Some will approach with apology, others with curiosity, and some may say nothing at all, but the shift will be evident. They will begin to ask for your opinion. They will begin to seek your counsel. They will begin to lean in, because I am placing weight on your words. Not because you are louder, but because you have remained true to me. There is a reason I didn't let you walk away, even when being ignored made it feel easier to give up. I knew this day would come. I knew the ones who misunderstood you would one day need the clarity I placed inside you. You will not need to revisit the pain, they will feel it in their own realization. But you will meet them with grace, because that is who you've become. You are not returning to the room bitter. You are re-entering with healing. This moment will be marked by recognition, not by revenge. Your wisdom will now be seen as essential. Your ideas will no longer be treated as optional. The very essence of who you are will carry a new presence, not because you've changed it, but because they've now been made ready to receive it. What I gave you remains unchanged. What I'm changing is the level of reception. So walk back in without fear. The silence you once endured is about to be replaced with attention that doesn't seek to flatter, but to understand. And as they begin to hear what they once ignored, you will know that I have fulfilled yet another promise, the one where I said I would not allow your voice to go unheard forever. There were moments when everything inside you felt like it was crumbling. You tried to hold it together, but the weight was too heavy, the pressure too intense, and the silence too long. In those moments, you didn't just feel weak, you felt defeated. You weren't only tired in your body, you were tired in your soul. You whispered prayers you didn't know how to finish. You walked through days that blurred together, surviving more than living. And when it felt like no one could see the battle, you wondered if it would ever end. You questioned whether anyone would ever understand what it cost you just to keep going. But what you felt breaking inside of you was not the end, it was the beginning of a breakthrough being born. I never looked away from those moments. I saw each time you chose not to give up when everything around you told you to stop. I listened to the quiet groans of your heart that you couldn't express with words. I watched you wipe away tears and still stand tall, not because you felt strong, but because you knew I hadn't released you to fall. Every hidden battle was building something in you. Every tear was watering something that hadn't yet risen. And now, that breakthrough is pushing through the surface. This breakthrough will not sneak in quietly. It will arrive with force. It will speak louder than the pain you endured. It will echo louder than the lies that circled your mind in the dark. It will rise up with a voice that overshadows every moment where hopelessness tried to convince you that nothing would ever change. I am not giving you a whisper of restoration, I'm bringing a flood. I'm not only ending the pressure, I'm releasing promise. You'll begin to see how everything started shifting when it looked like everything was falling apart. It was not chaos. It was the rearranging of what could no longer remain. What once looked like breakdown was actually the removal of what couldn't carry you forward. You're not being rebuilt into the same structure, you're being made new from the foundation upward. What I'm creating through your breakthrough will carry strength, resilience, and grace that wasn't there before. It won't just restore what was lost. It will multiply it. You will look at the space where you once struggled to stand and realize it became the platform on which you rose. You no longer need to be ashamed of where you broke. It is part of your rising. Your vulnerability did not disqualify you, it humbled you. And now, as the breakthrough comes, it will speak to the very places where you once whispered, "Will this ever get better?" And the answer will no longer be delayed. It will be live. It will be visible. It will be real. This is not just a new chapter, it's a new sound. The sound of chains coming off. The sound of doors opening. The sound of breath returning to places that once gasped for hope. And through it all, you will walk in a clarity that was only possible because of the breaking that brought you to me in your rawest, most honest form. So don't hide the pieces. Don't conceal the journey. What once looked like the end of your strength is now the birthplace of something greater. And when others hear your testimony, they will not remember the breakdown. They will hear the breakthrough shouting louder than anything that came before it. Some wounds were never spoken aloud. Not because they weren't painful, but because they were too deep for language. You carried them silently, through seasons of pretending you were fine, and moments where others assumed you were stronger than you felt. These hidden places of your heart weren't ignored by me. I watched you smile while struggling. I saw how certain memories would surface unexpectedly and bring with them a sudden weight you couldn't explain. I observed the way you buried your disappointment beneath responsibility and told yourself to keep moving, even when your soul needed rest. Now I am stepping into those quiet places and placing my hand on what you've tried to heal on your own. I never needed you to pretend you were okay to stay close to me. My presence was never dependent on your strength. I stayed with you in the moments you didn't share with anyone, when the pain felt too personal, too complicated, too layered to unpack. And even though you never said a word, I heard what your tears were saying. I felt what your heart was carrying when you laid down and stared into the stillness, wondering if peace would ever return. This healing isn't about revisiting the pain to relive it. It's about allowing me to access it so I can restore what was fractured. I am not rushing you. I am not pushing you to be okay. I am meeting you exactly where you are and beginning the slow, sacred work of mending what you thought would always remain broken. You don't need to fear this process. I will not overwhelm you. I will not expose you to embarrassment. What we walk through together will be covered in grace. The heaviness that sat in your chest like a quiet ache is beginning to lift, not because you're forgetting, but because I am carrying it now. You'll begin to sense peace in the very places where unrest once lived. Your reactions will soften. The tension that used to rise unexpectedly will begin to lose its grip. Where once there was defensiveness, you will feel security. Where you used to hide behind strength, you will discover gentleness that empowers you more than any performance ever did. This is not surface-level comfort. This is deep healing, the kind that changes how you see yourself, how you relate to others, and how you hear my voice. There is nothing in your heart that I'm unwilling to touch. The parts you've considered too messy, too wounded, too painful, they are the very areas I desire to make whole. You are not too far gone. You are not too complicated. You are not too late to be healed. I've waited patiently, never forcing, always ready. And now, because you're letting me in, the process begins to unfold gently, powerfully, and permanently. You'll start to notice freedom where shame once resided. The fear of being fully seen will fade because you'll know you're already fully known and still completely loved. You won't have to protect your heart from me. I never came to harm you. I came to heal you. And this healing is not temporary relief, it is full restoration. It will not require you to hide behind strength, it will invite you to rest in wholeness. Let it begin here, in this very moment. You don't have to bring me the polished version of your story. Bring me the real one. The parts with cracks. The chapters you skip. The emotions that still sting. I will not reject any of it. I will meet you there and I will stay until every hidden wound is made new. You've seen others step into seasons that look similar to the ones you've been praying for. Their progress seemed effortless. Their victories appeared fast. You tried to celebrate them, and yet, in the quiet parts of your heart, you wondered when your moment would arrive. You've waited patiently, trusted fully, and yet there were times you questioned whether what I promised you would ever come to pass. You compared your delay to their progress, and asked if maybe you missed something or if your portion had been passed to someone else. These thoughts didn't come from lack of faith, they came from years of wondering how long is too long to wait. But what I've prepared for you is unlike anything anyone else has received. This blessing isn't a copy. It's not a recycled version of someone else's miracle. It has my fingerprint etched into every detail, designed specifically for you, for your life, for your calling, for your journey. What I'm releasing wasn't created in haste or formed out of pressure. It was constructed with care, shaped by timing, and reserved with intention. You haven't seen it yet, not because it wasn't ready, but because I was making sure everything around it would support it when it arrived. There is no one else who can carry what I've designed for you. No one else can occupy the space I've carved for your voice, your gifts, your heart. You were never meant to replicate someone else's life, you were meant to embody the unique rhythm I've placed within yours. This is why comparison will always leave you empty. You weren't overlooked. You were protected from stepping into something that looked like a blessing but wasn't built to hold your spirit. What's coming will fit not only externally, but internally. You won't have to contort yourself to stay in it. You won't have to compromise your identity to hold on to it. This blessing will feel like alignment, not effort. It will confirm what I've been whispering into your heart in private. You will not question whether it's from me, because every detail will reflect what I've already been preparing you to expect. It will carry peace, clarity, and unmistakable presence. You will walk into rooms you never fought for. You will hold opportunities you didn't campaign for. You will receive favor that no one else can take credit for. Not because you strategize your way in, but because I made space for you where there was none before. And those who see you walk into it will recognize that it couldn't have come from anyone but me. There is no competition when you understand the uniqueness of your calling. There is no scarcity in my kingdom. I don't run out of miracles. I don't recycle destiny. What is yours is sealed. What is yours is secure. And what is yours is coming not with confusion, but with confirmation. I don't bless to impress. I bless to reveal purpose. So release the anxiety that tells you it's too late. Dismiss the doubt that whispers it's too good to be true. You are not being handed a borrowed answer, you are receiving something that has been signed with the imprint of heaven. It will not crumble. It will not be counterfeit. It will not come with strings attached. It will come marked by grace and infused with intention. And when you hold it, when you finally step into what has your name written by my hand, you'll realize why the wait had to be long, why the shaping had to be deep, and why it could never be anyone else's story but yours. There have been times you've walked into places with a heart full of vision but felt the weight of being overlooked. You didn't want recognition for pride's sake, but because you longed to be understood, included, and valued. You showed up. You offered what you carried, but it often went unnoticed. You served faithfully behind the scenes, gave generously in silence, and kept showing up when it seemed like no one even realized you were there. You began to question whether your presence truly mattered, whether your efforts had any impact, whether your voice had any reach. You never asked for applause, you just wanted to feel like you were seen. I want you to know today that I have never taken my eyes off you, not for a second. While others passed over your contributions, I watched every detail. I witnessed your sacrifices. I recorded the moments you gave when you had little left to offer. And now, the time has come where you will no longer have to try to be noticed. I am the one who lifts. I am the one who promotes. I am the one who opens the eyes of others to what I've already declared about you. You will not have to explain your worth. You will not have to chase validation. I'm bringing people into your life who will recognize your authenticity without you having to perform. They won't need convincing. They will see what I placed in you clearly, because their hearts will be aligned with my perspective. The days of having to justify your gifts are over. You won't need to force a seat at the table. I'm preparing one specifically for you, and no one else can take your place. This is not about ego. This is about visibility born from obedience. You allowed me to develop your character when no one else was clapping. You trusted me to build something lasting when it seemed like no one was paying attention. And now, as I lift you, it will not be a sudden rise fueled by ambition. It will be a steady unveiling that reflects the integrity you've carried all along. You'll be placed in rooms not because you shouted your way in, but because you remained faithful when there was no audience. As you begin to rise, stay grounded in what I've taught you in the hidden places. You don't need to prove anything. Just be who I formed you to be. You don't need to diminish your light to make others comfortable. Shine with humility. Lead with love. Speak with clarity. Let the elevation I bring be used to serve, not dominate. The weight of visibility will not crush you because your roots go deep. You are not lifted by men, you are being lifted by me. You're not being pushed ahead of schedule. This is not forced, it's formed. Formed through pressure. Formed through process. Formed through the long stretch of time where you walked alone, still believing. I am not just lifting your name, I'm lifting the essence of who you are. I am raising up your voice, your presence, your calling, not for show, but for impact. What you've learned in stillness will now shape others in their own journey. Walk confidently into this new space. You are not an imposter. You are not taking someone else's place. You are exactly where you're meant to be. And when others ask how it all shifted, you'll be able to point to me and say, the one who saw me when no one else did, he lifted me. You have faced seasons where everything felt like resistance. Progress came slowly, if at all. Every step forward felt like pushing through invisible force, and no matter how much strength you mustered, you were met with more opposition. Doors took longer to open. Conversations felt harder to initiate. Even within, there were doubts pressing against your confidence. It wasn't always dramatic, sometimes it was the constant pressure of things just not moving, like something unseen was working against your motion. And still, you stayed. You stood. You remained grounded in me, even when it didn't make sense to your surroundings. What once worked to slow you is about to shift and serve you. The winds that oppose your journey are now being redirected not against you, but for you. The very resistance that tried to drain your strength will now become momentum that lifts your steps. You are not only stepping into favor, you are being propelled by it. This is not your imagination. This is divine reversal in action. The atmosphere around you is changing because I have issued a command. What hindered you before is now part of what's going to move you faster, further, and deeper into where I have called you to go. This isn't about struggle anymore. It's about movement. And not movement driven by your own effort, but by my hand. What used to take months will happen in moments. What used to require repeated attempts will come together with ease. You'll notice it in how conversations shift. You'll feel it when you wake up in the morning with clarity that used to take days to arrive. You'll see it when things you once had to push open begin to respond without force. It will feel like something is carrying you, and that something is me. I never intended for the wind to destroy you. It was allowed to strengthen your stance, to shape your focus, and to build resilience in your spirit. But now, I release it as your guide. I'm not removing the wind, I'm repositioning it. Just as I commanded the winds and the storm to be still, I now speak to what's been pressing against you and tell it to shift direction. From now on, you will sail, not struggle. You won't need to look over your shoulder for what's coming next. You'll be too focused on the acceleration ahead. You're being lifted, not dragged. You're being led, not pushed. And with every forward movement, you'll begin to understand why the delays, the blocks, the tensions, all of them were temporary and purposeful. They had their season. That season is over. Do not hesitate when you feel the pace change. It is not instability, it is breakthrough. You've already been prepared for this. The long nights, The silent prayers, the persistence when no one saw. All of it was preparation for forward motion that cannot be reversed. And I am not only shifting the wind, I am shifting your awareness. You will begin to think differently, speak differently, and move with a grace that doesn't come from effort, but from alignment. Let go of the memory of resistance. It taught you, but it no longer defines you. Let go of the fear that says the wind might turn again. I am the one who holds the wind. I am the one who breathes on the sails. And I say, go. Not with hesitation, but with confidence. Not as someone trying to force movement, but as one who is finally being carried by the momentum I designed all along. You have been misunderstood by people who never took time to see beyond their assumptions. They made conclusions about your intentions without knowing your heart. They watched your struggle and used it as evidence against your worth. They saw you go through hard moments and thought it was failure, not refinement. Words were spoken, not always to your face, but behind closed doors and within hearts that never truly sought to understand you. You didn't fight back, you chose to keep walking. You didn't try to correct every opinion, you trusted that time and truth would eventually speak. And now, I am revealing my favor on your life where it cannot be hidden. I am not doing this for revenge. I am doing it for clarity. The same people who questioned your direction will now witness your steps being guided with purpose. The same people who doubted your ability will now see the fruit that I bring forth from your obedience. This blessing is not about proving yourself to anyone, it's about fulfilling what I have spoken over you, in plain sight. You will no longer be misjudged through the lens of what you've been through. You will be seen through the lens of what I am doing in you now. I have chosen this season not to restore you quietly, but to honor you publicly, not to elevate you for attention, but to establish what I've been forming all along. There is no need to explain how you got here. I will make it clear. You don't have to announce what's happening. My work in you will speak louder than any defense ever could. And those who once looked down on your process will begin to look up, not at you, but at what I've done through you. Let this not change your heart toward those who misunderstood you. Keep it soft. Let grace continue to guide how you respond. They didn't know what you carried. They couldn't see what I was forming in you. And though it hurt to be mislabeled, you didn't let it become bitterness. That is why I trust you with this level of blessing. Because you didn't chase vindication, you pursued me. Now I will prepare a table, not in a secret place, but in the presence of those who once thought you had nothing to offer. They won't understand how it happened, but they will recognize that it could not have come from anywhere else but my hand. This is not to shame them. It's to reveal my faithfulness. You stayed the course when no one else could see where it was leading. You believed when belief looked foolish. You chose to love when you had the right to be angry. And now, I place you in view not for status, but for testimony. You not shrink when the light begins to shine. You've hidden long enough. You stayed faithful in the quiet. Now I want you to carry this blessing with peace, not pride. With humility, not hesitation. What I've placed on your life is not fragile. It is not temporary. It is not dependent on who approves of it. It comes from me, and because of that, it will remain even when others shift. Let them see what I've done. Let them watch the transformation. Let them witness how I take what the world misjudges and turn it into evidence of grace. You will not need to respond to every whisper, because the work I am doing will speak in places your voice never reached. This is how I bless with mercy, with power, and with purpose. And now, I bless you not behind the curtain, but in full view. You've walked through long stretches of time where the silence felt endless. You watched others receive answers while your own prayers echoed back without reply. You showed up each day believing, even when the waiting became difficult to endure. You counted the days, the seasons, the sacrifices, trying to find meaning in the pauses. There were times you told yourself not to get your hopes up, just in case the waiting continued. Still, you held on to a quiet hope that something was being worked out behind the scenes. You trusted me, but the stretch between promise and fulfillment caused your heart to ache. Now you will begin to see why I made you wait. The delay wasn't denial, it was protection, preparation, and alignment. What I was shipping in the unseen could not be right. I wasn't just working on the situation, you were part of the work. I was developing you while I was developing the answer. The timing had to be exact so the moment wouldn't just arrive, it would last. What you're walking into isn't temporary, it's sustainable. It's going to make sense in a way that no explanation ever could have given you during the wait. You'll look back on the seasons of silence and see them differently. You'll recognize the ways I held you in place, not to withhold from you, but to protect what was too precious to mishandle. There were things you prayed for that I couldn't give yet, not because I didn't want to bless you, but because I needed to finish refining what would support the blessing. I know how difficult it was to walk by faith when you couldn't see the reason for the wait. I saw your tears. I heard your whispers. I watched you wrestle with hope and doubt at the same time, and I never turned away. I'm not embarrassed by your questions. I'm not disappointed that you wondered. I understand how human it is to grow weary in the waiting. But I want you to know that not one moment of delay was wasted. Every hour of trust, every step of obedience, every tear in the quiet, all of it was building something strong in you that could only come through time. I am not interested in rushed outcomes. I build deeply, intentionally, and permanently. Now the moment has arrived where the alignment is complete. What I am doing will not need to be fixed after it comes. It will fit you, sustain you, and stretch you without breaking you. And you will feel it not only in your surroundings, but in your spirit. The timing will settle something in you that was previously restless. The doors will open not because of force, but because the lock has been removed at the perfect moment. The people I'm connecting you with are arriving on schedule. The opportunities unfolding are appearing when your heart is finally ready to handle them. Let go of the belief that it should have happened sooner. You didn't miss it. You didn't fall behind. You're not making up for lost time. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. And when this blessing manifests, you'll know that no earlier moment would have been better than now. You'll see why I asked you to trust me, even when the calendar kept moving forward without evidence. I never forgot. I never paused my plan. I simply waited for the exact moment where everything would align, not just around you, but inside you. This is that moment. What once felt late will now feel perfect. What once made you anxious will now bring you peace. And what you thought had passed you by is now standing at your door, right on time. You've accomplished things that others admire. You've achieved what you once prayed for. You've climbed certain hills and stood in places that once felt unreachable. On the outside, it may look like you should feel fulfilled. But somewhere inside, there is still a quiet space that remains untouched by all that has been gained. You've smiled through milestones while sensing there was more. Not more in the sense of ambition or striving, but something deeper, something missing that no amount of recognition, completion, or applause could ever resolve. What you are experiencing is not a failure to be grateful, it's a signal from your spirit that you were made for more than just accomplishment. The longing you feel is not something to hide. It's something I placed there, so you would return to me not only in moments of need, but also in moments of abundance. When everything seems complete, and yet something inside still feels incomplete, that is where I begin to pour a fullness that only comes from my presence. I see that space in you, the one that no achievement can touch, the one that still whispers at night when the noise fades. I don't judge you, I meet it. I created you with a heart that thrives not on worldly completion, but divine connection. Even your greatest accomplishments were never meant to replace intimacy with me. I rejoice with you when you celebrate your victories, but I also long to be invited into the quiet that follows them. Because even then, especially then, I have something to give you. You've been faithful through delay. You've been courageous through setbacks. But now that things are beginning to unfold in your favor, I want to go even deeper. I don't want your heart to settle for surface peace. I want you to encounter the depth of joy that doesn't require performance, planning, or striving. I want to show you that what I give satisfies the soul in a way no moment, no platform, no success ever could. You don't have to abandon what you've built to receive this. You just have to open your heart again, not for more things, but for more of me. Let me into the places you didn't realize needed filling, the rooms you thought were already complete, the corners of your heart that have grown quiet, not because they are content, but because they've stopped hoping to be filled. Let me meet you there. Let me sit with you in the silence behind the success. Let me restore wonder, not because you failed to live well, but because you succeeded without forgetting that your spirit still longs to feel me close. You are not ungrateful. You are simply ready to go deeper. And I welcome that. I bless that. I honor that. As I begin to fill you in this new way, you'll start to sense a richness in simple moments, a sweetness in stillness, a rest that no schedule could offer. You'll no longer feel the urge to constantly seek what's next. You'll feel content, not because you stopped growing, but because you finally come home into the part of my presence that doesn't need a reason to pour out love. It simply does. This is the kind of blessing that doesn't arrive with sound or spotlight. It enters quietly and transforms everything. It reorders your joy. It recalibrates your peace. It renews your strength, not for the next task, but for the stillness that reminds you that being with me is the greatest reward of all. To rest. Not because you're done, but because you finally reached the part of the journey where fullness no longer depends on what you achieve. It flows from who I am and who you are with me. For too long, your days have felt like a constant race, one obligation pressing into the next. You've moved from one season into another without pause, managing responsibilities, expectations, and emotional demands that have stretched you thin. Even in moments of stillness, your mind hasn't stopped moving. You've gone to sleep tired and woken up already feeling behind. You've told yourself this is just how life works now, that the rhythm you're in, rushed, reactive, relentless, is something you simply have to endure. But I never created you to live in cycles that leave your soul worn out. What you've been calling normal, I am now interrupting with restoration. I am not asking you to give up your responsibilities. I am asking you to return to alignment, to return to a pace that honors your spirit, to walk, not just run, to breathe and not just survive. I am restoring the rhythm of your life, not by removing what matters, but by rearranging what's in, stealing your peace. There is a divine order I am bringing back to your days, one that creates room for rest without guilt, one that allows space for reflection without fear of falling behind. You were not created to keep pushing until you collapse. You were not designed to prove your worth through non-stop productivity. Even in creation, I established a rhythm: light and dark, work and rest, movement and pause. That rhythm wasn't just for the world, it was for you. And when you return to it, you'll find parts of yourself you forgot were missing. You'll remember what it feels like to breathe deeply again. You will feel your chest rise, not with pressure, but with presence. This restoration will start quietly. It will come in subtle shifts, unexpected moments where you feel peace without needing explanation. The urge to rush will begin to fade. The need to always say yes will begin to quiet. Your spirit will start to recognize when it's time to pause, and you will no longer feel guilty for stepping back. You'll begin to see that rest is not retreat, it is renewal. I've built rest into your design, not as a luxury but as a necessity. You may notice me prompting you to change how you spend your hours. You may feel led to release things you once held tightly. You'll feel uncomfortable at first, slowing down often does. But as you trust me with your time, I'll give you back more than you thought you were losing. What you let go of will make room for something better: clarity, calm, and a deeper connection with me. You'll start living from a place of overflow instead of depletion. There is strength in your stillness. There is wisdom in your waiting. There is healing in your slowing down. And as your rhythm shifts, so will your sensitivity to my voice. You'll hear me more clearly, not because I'm speaking louder, but because you're finally quiet enough to listen. You'll begin to distinguish between what feels urgent and what is truly important. And that discernment will guide you into decisions that bless not just your schedule, but your soul. Let this be the moment where the pace changes, not by force but by your ace. Let this be the day you choose alignment over exhaustion. I will walk with you not just in moments of purpose, but in the spaces between. The pauses, the quiet mornings, the unhurried nights. Those will become sacred again. You do not need to earn this restoration. I'm giving it freely because I love you, because I see you, because I want you to experience joy that doesn't depend on what you produce. I am restoring your rhythm not just for your health, but for your wholeness. You've walked through seasons where the path ahead was hard to see. You tried to make the best decisions with what you had, but no matter how carefully you considered your steps, uncertainty lingered. You prayed, waited, and listened, but the direction still felt foggy. You took small steps forward, hoping they were right, even while part of you wondered if you were moving in circles. You sought signs, confirmation, and reassurance, but the answers didn't always arrive when you expected them to. And so, you carried on, faithfully, yet with questions still pressing quietly in the back of your mind. Now I am clearing what has been clouding your view. Where there once was confusion, I am bringing clarity not from outside sources, but from deep within your spirit. This clarity will arrive with a shout or a flashing light. It will rise slowly, gently, like sunlight breaking through the haze. It will settle over your thoughts, silencing the noise of indecision. You'll begin to notice it in the way peace accompanies your next steps, even before the full picture is revealed. I'm not showing you everything at once, I'm giving you just enough to move forward, without fear. You've been trying to do the right thing, not for recognition, but because you long to follow me with sincerity. That has not gone unnoticed. Your desire to please me has kept you steady when your emotions tried to waver. Your willingness to wait on my timing, even when others rushed ahead, has opened a space for me to move in a new way. I am not hiding direction from you, I've been preparing your heart to receive it with understanding, so that once it comes, you'll walk in it with confidence. This next level of clarity is going to affect more than one area of your life. It will touch your relationships, your work, your timing, your energy, and even the way you manage your thoughts. Where once you hesitated, you will now walk with purpose. Where once you second-guessed, you will now feel a steady assurance. Where once you asked what if, you will now say, this is the way. This is not just a moment of direction, it's a shift into alignment with what I've been preparing all along. Don't be surprised when things start to make sense, conversations that once confused you, circumstances that once frustrated you, doors that once refused to open. What was once unclear is now being placed into order. I have been silent, I've been aligning the timing. And now, as the noise quiets and your spirit listens, you will recognize my guidance in ways you couldn't have understood before. This clarity will not create pressure, it will bring relief. You won't have to chase it. You won't have to analyze endlessly. You'll simply know. I am giving you the kind of clarity that doesn't need to be defended to others. It will be planted so deeply within you that their opinions will no longer create hesitation. You won't move forward out of fear or urgency, you'll move with calm obedience, knowing I've gone before you. What's coming next will require decision. And for that, I am preparing your discernment. You won't need to rely on signs to believe your intimacy with me will become the source of your confidence. You will know what to do because you'll know who you're walking with. And that will be enough. The fog is lifting. The silence is shifting. The way is being made clear not through your striving, but through my spirit guiding you step by step. Let your mind rest. Let your heart be still. You are not lost, and you never were. You are being led every moment, every step, every decision. And now, you will begin to see it for yourself. Amen.